Money is a byproduct of the audience. So they make money because their audience is a certain size. Hi guys. I am super excited to do this training for you today because I think that there's a lot of misconceptions around what is an influencer, what is an entrepreneur, how do you show up differently online depending on what your goals are. There are a lot of influencers that kind of over the years turn into entrepreneurs or realize that they actually want to have a business and they want to sell their own product instead of someone else's. But yeah, the way you go about showing up online, doing what you do, how you approach your social media profiles, how you really approach your messaging in general is going to have more to do with are you an influencer or are you an entrepreneur than anything else. And I think that we have a lot of people who have come into the program with larger followings and they've said, you know what? The numbers have not equated to business. I'm not getting more business from actually having this following, and I've built this following and I've built, this audience, but I'm not actually getting what I want out of it, which is business and money and the things that, at the end of the day, everyone who's here is looking to get. So, okay. So first things first, let's talk about what are the main goals of an entrepreneur? And then what are the main goals of an influencer? And then we're going to break down what are the top mistakes that people make. So an influencer, their first and only objective is always going to be audience growth, because influencers for the most part are, again, influencing. And then eventually they will get to a point where they can sell someone else's product. I'm sure you've seen or you follow a ton of people that fall into that influencer category. They're looking for audience growth. Money is a byproduct of the audience. So they make money because their audience is a certain size. Now, an entrepreneur is the opposite. The goal of an entrepreneur is money first, and then the audience growth or the audience the audience growth or the growth in terms of that person's influence happens as a result of what they're doing to make money. So, one of the most common questions I get from agents all the time is, should I buy followers? Or, I've been offered to, so-and-so has messaged me to offer if I can collaborate and sell their sunglasses or something like that. It's so important not to dilute your message. There are tons of influencers out there who that's what they do. That's how they make their money. You can make great money being an influencer, but it's not actually going to equate to money for you, for your business. Now, when we're talking about entrepreneurs, which is obviously what we are here and obviously what we're here to focus on, the entrepreneur thought process is completely different. It's not about numbers. I call a lot of those numbers vanity metrics. So the most important thing when we're thinking about audience growth or we're thinking about anything to do with social media is how we actually are approaching it. And the way that you want to approach it with as an influencer is just to be fun, be funny, have people build an element of trust with you so that they basically what brands are doing is they're using a transfer of trust. Right? So if you are, a fitness influencer, and just so that influencers have to niche down too. There's no just kind of influencer unless you're Kim Kardashian, right? So every influencer, as well as every entrepreneur, also needs to niche down into a specific demographic. So let's say that you're a fitness influencer. A fitness influencer is going to be able to share and sell products that are fitness related. So shakes, workout programs, things like that. And then over time, what a lot of them end up doing is creating their own fitness coaching business because they realize that it's a hard grind to sell someone else's product. Now, from the entrepreneur side of it, or specifically for the real estate agent side of it, you really want to be thinking about the fact that this know, like, and trust factor is even more important because at the end of the day, you're kind of selling yourself. You're selling a service. So, I had a guy the other day who emailed me back from one of my automated emails and said, I totally disagree. Business is business. What I do on my weekends or what I'm doing any other time in my life has no bearing on my clients. Now, sure, that person may be able to build a business of a certain type. And there's a certain type of person that will resonate with that. But at the end of the day, you have to remember how human beings buy and how human beings choose. And we choose emotionally or we buy or make decisions emotionally before we make them logically. So the way that the algorithms work is they are going to show your content or whatever you put out there to a small number of people. And then what happens? Those people either engage with you or they don't. They either like your content or they don't. Now, when you have a whole bunch of random followers who aren't local and who aren't, really having anything to do with really what you do, and we all have some of those followers, and the best thing to do is actually try to remove them. But these random followers that are overseas, that their accounts aren't even in English and things like that, you don't want those followers because they're not going to engage with your content because your content's not going to be relevant to them. So then what ends up happening? They don't engage with your content. Facebook or Instagram or whatever platform, TikTok, whatever platform you're using is going to make the assumption that your audience doesn't like this content, and it's going to bury it. And then all of a sudden that piece of content that could have been an incredible piece of content is gone. And it's just not going to be resurfaced and not very many people are going to see it. Now, if you have if your audience is incredibly engaged and relevant, and even if it's small, if it's the right audience, then what happens? Then your content actually gets seen by, the first 10%. The first 10%, because they're relevant, is going to like it, share it, comment on it, all of that stuff. And then what happens is the algorithm's going to pick that up and say, okay, so her audience or his audience likes this. So they're going to show it to the next round of people. And then they're going to like it and comment and share it and save it and all those things. And then it's going to go to the next set. That's why you have certain pieces of content, I'm sure, that you posted months ago that still every once in a while pop up and people are still liking it. And then you have other pieces of content that, maybe you posted and you got a handful of something and then it just kind of died. That's the reason why. It's because the way that the algorithm works is they're basically just seeing what content your audience likes. The reason why the algorithms are built this way is purely because the goal of every single platform is to keep you on that platform as long as possible. If you've watched The Social Dilemma, I haven't watched it. I can only assume what it's about. This is going to be part of it, a part of what they talk about, right? It's the addiction to the social media platform. And what they're trying to do is make sure that you aren't having people leave the platform because your audience isn't liking your content and you're basically boring them or they're disinterested in what they're seeing in their feed. Your feed is literally the drug. It's the kryptonite. It's the thing that keeps you coming back. And so what they want to do is make sure that what they're putting in your feed based on the algorithm is exactly what you want to see, what's relevant to you, and what you want to engage with. I hope that makes sense. So when we're thinking about it as the difference between an influencer or an entrepreneur, the entrepreneurial side of it is that the end result or the end goal is money, is profit, is a deal for a realtor. So let's talk about some mistakes that agents make. The first one is that they don't actually share the back end of their lives. That's incredibly important, okay? You have to share everything. You have to share everything in your life as content. And I don't mean everything like you had a bad day, you have to share that. I'm just saying that your personal background, your family, things you're interested in, your personal beliefs, your personal philosophy, your personal stories, those are important. Those are part of the know, like, and trust factor. You're not a lawyer. And I know that happens all the time where people are like, well, people don't haggle with their lawyers. You're not a lawyer. At the end of the day, you're not a lawyer and you're not a doctor. And I know that, realtors, we want to be seen as high professional, high respected as an industry. But the truth really is that we're not really there yet. And just because we want to be doesn't mean we are. So the most important thing that we have to remember is the human to human factor of this business is the key and the most important part. So what does that mean? It means that you have to build a relationship with these people. All the time, I hear every day, you guys have experienced this many times. Referrals are usually the best type of lead because they're already bought in, right? Someone else has used them, they've gotten a recommendation, they're really usually the highest quality. Now, the truth really is referrals are not the highest quality lead. The highest quality lead is someone who already feels like they know, like, and trust you and is coming to you and saying, can you work with me? Are you available? Are you taking on clients right now? That is a higher quality lead than a referral because that's someone who has already bought in and is already educated on what you do. So when we're talking about from an entrepreneurial standpoint, now, that's basically what we're talking about. We're talking about building that relationship at scale with as many people as possible so that you have this ability to sit back and really get to a point where where they're raising their hand to say, I want to work with you. Now, mistake number 2, and this comes up a lot, especially in real estate. Just because you have business does not mean that people are going to give you business. And I know I've talked about this a lot, but the just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold, under contract stuff, it's not enough. And to be honest, like, it's not interesting, and it's not going to build any kind of a relationship with anyone online. You know, I get why people do it, and it's kind of like using the flyer mentality, but doing it on social media. Social media is a social network. It's not a flyer, right? So if that's what you're doing and you're thinking, well, my audience isn't growing, of course it's not growing. The people who are going to follow you are going to be spam bots, people that you buy, friends, family, and people who have worked with you for the most part, right? Because you're not actually providing a lot of value and you're not building a relationship with the people who are following you. And you have to remember that when you're like, as real estate agents, we have to remember that the average person is really going to move every 3 to 7 years. So if you're only relevant to your audience every 3 to 7 years, you're going to have a lot of audience churn. And you're also not going to have a lot of people who find your content particularly interesting unless you give them a reason to follow you the rest of the time, which is the personal stuff, which is the funny stuff, which is the stuff that actually like educates them on what's going on with you, what's going on with the market. And I'm not only talking about market updates. I get people all the time who are like, how do I get more followers on Instagram? You create better content, right? You create shareable content. I mean, yes, I have trainings and up the yin yang on how to actually grow like a relevant audience, but really the simplest answer is if your audience isn't growing, it's because your content's not being shared. Your content's not being shared, and it's because it needs improvement. And sometimes the growth is going to be slow, sometimes it's going to be fast. Now, the fastest way to grow your audience is PR. Hands down, all the time, no questions asked. If you get high quality public like media attention, PR attention, those people, what you're doing is you're leveraging all these other audiences and you're bringing them back to yourself. So that is, if you want audience growth, instead of going out and hiring some bot, which is just going to end up like honestly wrecking your account, it's unbelievably important that it's the quality of the audience that really matters. Okay, are these people your ideal client base? Are they people who are actually going to work with you? Are they people who are engaging with your content? So it's more than just, beautiful pictures. If you're an influencer, you can get away with really beautiful pictures and a one-liner. People go on social media to interact with other people. Now, when you're actually writing content is not a bunch of hashtags and a photo. It's not an infographic. Guys, if you're using infographics, please stop. They just, I know that it takes time and I know that it takes effort, but it comes across to the consumer as lazy because it's literally just taking an image and throwing it up there and asking them to interpret it. Instead of doing that, instead of throwing your market updates up there or throwing some infographic of some sort of like trends up on your social media, actually take the time to interpret the data for your audience. That is what builds trust and authority. Interpret the data. Yes, both influencers and entrepreneurs are looking to build that relationship, but the end result of the relationship is different. You're actually looking for them to take an action at the end of it. And it's not to buy a protein shake, it's to buy a home or sell a home, which is a much bigger commitment. So because the commitment is so much bigger, the way you go about it has to be a lot more serious and has to use a lot more psychology. So many people are going about this the wrong way. They're going about it as though, they want to be Instagram famous as a realtor. Guys, Instagram fame at the end of the day, you'll get there if you do it well and if you do it right and if you build audience. If you're really just looking for the vanity metrics and the numbers, it's not going to convert into actual business. And at the end of the day, it's kind of useless. You're going to go to bed at night thinking, fantastic, I have a whole bunch of followers. but and people watch my Instagram stories, but at the end of the day, like that's not actually going to mean money in your pocket. And so I have a coach that says this all the time, and it's something that I think that you guys need to hear in relation to this. There are always, you're always making a decision. You're either filling your ego account or you're filling your bank account. Very rarely are you filling both. So before you make a decision or before you do something, ask yourself, does this fill my ego account or does this fill my bank account? And choose the bank account if that's what you want.